Talk about some vocabulary involved with word problems and writing an equation in a y equals mx plus b form. So in the equation y equals mx plus b, the letter m represents the slope or some type of a rate of change. So some of the phrases that you can look for in a word problem that might signify that they're talking about m or the slope are phrases such as hourly rate, or the cost per day or hour. Pounds per day might be one you could see. The cost per person. Cost of per game, like the cost per game of bowling, something like that. Or descending at a certain rate, or feet per a minute, or ascending, or receding. Anything that would indicate that you're changing over time, or at a predictable time, like every hour or per minute, something of that nature. Those are the words that you could look for to help you indicate that you're going to be talking about the slope. Now the other constant in the equation is b, which is the y-intercept. So phrases that you might see in a word problem that would indicate a number that would go in place of b would be a flat fee, a service call charge, or a monthly fee, or the initial amount charged, a transportation fee, some type of a fixed fee or membership charge, or a fixed amount that you're already starting with before the other amount starts to change it, before the slope starts to change it. So let's try a couple of these problems and see what we're talking about. So Carl walks the neighbor's dogs for an initial fee of $10 plus $7 an hour. So if he's going to go to the trouble to go over to your house, pick up the dog, he wants $10 for that much trouble. Okay, now we want to write an equation in y equals mx plus b form for this problem. So we're going to start out with y equals, that's the easy part. But how much is he charging per hour? Well, it turns out to be $7 an hour. So we'll write that 7 in place of slope, 7x, and then the initial fee, that kind of a fixed fee that he charges if he's just going to come over there, is $10. So we would do 7x plus $10. All right, how much would Carl earn for walking a dog for 3 hours? Well, when we write down this equation that we have just created using the information that was given, for x, we plug in the value of 3 because that's the number of hours that he walks the dogs. And then we have the plus 10 on the end right there. So we do 7 times 3, which is 21, and 21 plus 10 equals $31. So if he walks the dogs for that many hours, for 3 hours, he makes $31. So there's an example of how this might work. All right, let's try one or two more examples. The space capsule is 40,000 feet high and is descending at a rate of 2,500 feet per minute. Write an equation in y equals mx plus b form for this situation. So let's go ahead and write our equation. We got y equals, and it's descending at a rate of 2,500 feet per minute. So that's going to be a negative number coming down at 2,500 feet per minute. So that would be 2,500x. And then the initial height was 40,000 feet. So way up there, in other words. So we recognize then as time goes on we're going to be dropping at 2,500 feet per minute. That means after a certain number of minutes, we are going to reach the ground. So it says, what is the altitude of the plane after 16 minutes? So let's write this, y equals negative 2,500 times 16. And then we'll add 40,000 to the end of that, and that'll give us our number for us. All right, so 2,500 times 16, what does that equal? Well, let's grab a calculator. Get a calculator. So 2,500 times 16. Oh, well, that looks like it's 40,000 too. So this would be negative 40,000 plus 40,000. All right, so if I add those two together, what happens? Well, they cancel each other out. So after 16 seconds, our height y is 0. So what does that mean? Well, that means after 16 seconds, this space capsule has actually landed on the ground. All right, let's try this one. The water in a river is presently at 13 feet deep. The river is rising at a rate of 1/2 foot per hour. There's probably been a lot of rain upstream. I write an equation that y equals mx plus b form for this situation. All right, so we're going to start out with y equals, and then what is our hourly rate or rate of change that we've seen in this equation? Well, it's going up at a rate of 1/2 foot per hour. So I'm going to put down 1/2, and x will be the number of hours, y will be the actual river level. And then we already know that it was at 13 feet to begin with. So that's how deep the river was. Okay, now the river continues to rise at this rate. If the river continues to rise at this rate, how many hours will it take to get to 18 feet deep, which is flood stage? So this is going to be a little different. We're actually going to write down 18 in the position for y, because we now know how deep we want the river to get, or we're watching for how deep it will get, which is 18 feet or flood stage. And then we reach that level, we know it's going to be coming out of the banks. So I've gotten the equation, and now I've got to solve it for x this time. So to do that, I subtract by 13. And 18 minus 13 is 5. And I have 5 equals 1/2 x. Now to finish it off, if I divide both sides by 1/2, 5 divided by 1/2, 5 divided by 1/2 then ends up being 10. So it's going to take 10 hours. That's what we're looking at. 10 hours. In 10 hours, this river is going to be hitting flood stage. So that means you got 10 hours to make sure you got everybody evacuated or everything out of your house so that you don't end up having a big mess on your hands. So this is another situation where you could use a slope-intercept form of the equation. So good luck on your assignments and have fun. Thank you very much.